Why Western visitors are shocked how clean Poland is. This is going to be an amazing video. Poland is very safe and clean, so yeah.
Why do so many Western visitors land in Poland and quietly admit they didn't expect it to look like this? Clean streets, orderly neighborhoods, renovated city centers, public transport that feels calm. There's a pattern happening. Tourists arrive expecting one version of reality and encounter something completely different. And this isn't just about appearances, because the surprise says less about Poland and more about how the rest of Europe sees it.
That is so
By
true.
the end of this video, a deeper
Especially on how Europe developed too. Oh my God, what? Yeah, like 15 years ago already, you could see a total change on what everything would look like, especially in city centers. It will be so much cleaner and safer. Nowadays, it's just terrible. In most capitals of Europe, in most big cities around
The
Europe.
reason behind this cleanliness shock will become clear, and it connects to history, culture, and timing in a way most people never consider. A traveler arrives in Krakow expecting worn infrastructure. Instead, restored facades, tidy public squares, functioning trams. Another lands in Wrocław expecting post-industrial grit. Instead, river boulevards, manicured green space, pedestrian order. Even in a heavily industrial region like Katowice, expectations of soot and decline often collide with business districts, cultural zones, and maintained public areas.
So beautiful. This is Katowice that they're showing. Actually, I don't know why, but it's always like the cheapest destination flying from Italy, Katowice. It's kind of near Krakow, if I'm not mistaken.
The reaction is rarely loud. It's usually quiet. A pause, a recalibration, because something doesn't match the mental picture. And that mental picture didn't come from nowhere. For decades, East and Central Europe existed in Western imagination as a single visual category: grey, worn, chaotic. This image formed during the Cold War and lingered through the turbulent 1990s. And here's the key: images in the public mind update slowly, much slower than reality. When Poland entered the European Union in 2004, transformation accelerated. But perception did not. So when someone visits today, they're not comparing Poland to modern Europe. They're comparing Poland to an outdated memory of transition-era Europe. That gap between memory and reality creates shock. But there is something even more interesting beneath it. Because Poland didn't just catch up. Poland modernized at a completely different moment in history. Many Western cities went through their biggest urban expansion during the 1950s to 1980s. Then came decline, factories closed, suburbs pulled people away, budgets tightened, maintenance slipped. Urban grime became normalized. In cities like Paris or Brussels, infrastructure often aged faster than it was renewed. Poland's major renewal came later, much later. Large-scale modernization happened in the 2000s and 2010s, an era already shaped by modern waste systems, urban design knowledge, EU funding, environmental planning. Instead of managing decline,
This is Warsaw,
cities
right?
were designing growth, and that changes everything.
So cool.
Pause for a moment.
Really like
What
when
does a city
cities
look
have a lot of green areas. That's the best ever.
like when its biggest investment wave happens in the 21st century instead of the 20th? Exactly.
But I mean, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, right? Because after the end of World War II, most European countries went through a very fast development and economical rise. So for Poland, is happening the same thing. Basically, after the ending of the Cold War, they're starting to develop on a very fast pace. So yeah, been 30 years, 37, 38 years. So happening basically what happened in the other parts of Europe before.
Cleanliness isn't just municipal, it's social. Walk through residential stairwells, look at shared courtyards, observe public transport behavior. There's an unspoken expectation. Shared space reflects shared responsibility. In many Western urban centers, public space is often treated as someone else's job. In Poland, the boundary between public and personal pride tends to blur, and this shows up in small daily behaviors, tidying after use, respecting shared infrastructure, quick reporting of damage. It's subtle, but across millions of interactions, it adds up, and visitors feel it immediately, not just visually, but atmospherically. This leads to another unexpected factor. In parts of Western Europe, graffiti evolved into identity, art rebellion, urban voice. In Poland, outside designated spaces, graffiti often remains associated with vandalism rather than expression. That cultural framing matters, because tolerance levels shape outcomes. Where vandalism is normalized, it spreads. Where it's discouraged, it fades. And the difference becomes visible within months.
I don't know that's true at all. Like, come on. The illegal stuff will always have more traction. So, yeah, I don't really agree with this one. I don't know. I'm not too sure about it. Of course, you can think in a different way, but if that was true, then we wouldn't have any illegal activities, right?
Not decades. Now here's where things become more emotional, because infrastructure alone doesn't create the reaction visitors describe. There's something psychological happening too. Surprise is rarely about absolute quality. It's about contrast. A visitor arriving from a city dealing with strikes, aging transit, long repair cycles, walks into an environment where problems appear.
Look at that, look at that. This takes me back to my trip to Finland, by the way. Everything was super clean over there, and I was always so impressed by it. Wow, some countries in Europe really do better.
To be addressed quickly. Grass trimmed, pavement repaired, transport running predictably. Even mid-sized cities like Rzeszów or Lublin often feel more orderly than their population size would suggest. And order creates a perception of calm.
Cool.
Calm creates a perception of safety. Safety creates trust. And trust changes how a place is experienced, not just seen, but felt. Quick thought. Have visitors ever commented on how put together things feel? That's not accidental. Some European cities actively market their quality of life. Vienna promotes livability. Copenhagen promotes sustainability. Poland rarely markets cleanliness as identity, which keeps expectations low. And low expectations amplify surprise. Discovery always feels stronger than confirmation. Western surprise isn't really about spotless sidewalks. It's about outdated mental maps, different modernization timing, cultural expectations around shared space. When transformation happens recently, it reflects current standards, and when responsibility is socially reinforced, maintenance becomes normal. The result? Visitors don't just notice cleanliness, they notice order. And order quietly challenges assumptions that were never updated. If this perspective shifted how Poland's cities are seen, even slightly, consider sharing this video so others can take a second look. And if deeper insights into how perception shapes reality sound interesting, subscribing helps keep the conversation going.
That was pretty interesting. I really like this video. I'm not the biggest fan of AI made videos, but this was pretty nice actually. I'm not even gonna lie. That was pretty cool. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed it as well. If you come from Poland and you want to share some thoughts about the video we just watched, I would really appreciate it. Or if you are from any other country but you visited Poland and want to share also your your first thoughts, whatever you felt when traveling to this beautiful country, yeah, that would make me super happy to read your comment. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.